Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Fillmore Podcast. My name is Loco Insomnia, and with me, I got my brother, Poet. What up, Poet?
Hi guys, happy to be here, and we're gonna be talking about Terminator 1 and 2.
So basically, we just want to focus on these two movies as they were written and directed by James Cameron. I know in the later movies he produced them, but we don't really count them as part of the original storyline. He even said after Terminator 2, this is where the story ends for him. Everything else was like cash cow and horseshit. So we're gonna ignore those and just keep it to the original. So Terminator 1, released in 1984,
Yeah, that's right.
set in 2000. Set in 1984. The Terminators get sent back from 2029. Get sent to Los Angeles. Basically, one Terminator is there to kill Sarah Connor because she's going to give birth to her son, who's basically going to overturn the Terminators in the future. But the humans also send one guy back, a soldier named Kyle Reese, who has to protect Sarah Connor. And of course, you had the great Arnold Schwarzenegger playing the Terminator, the 3800 model. What a movie. What do you think about it? When did you see it, and what are your memories about it?
Yeah, I actually saw Terminator 2 first in '92, so I guess this was around 1993. It was on TV, and I finally caught it. And I love the movie. I was really drawn to Kyle Reese's character mostly, but also Arnold Schwarzenegger's and Linda Hamilton were pretty good. And I think it was really ahead of its time for a 1980s movie. And it kind of had a different feel to the other kind of sci-fi movies at the time. The shot of the future was amazing, and the whole time travel thing has always been interesting to me. That was exciting, and just the music, the theme, the pace, everything was brilliant.
What I love about this movie is the intensity of the Terminator when he reaches there and he's looking for Sarah Connor. You could feel the tension. A lot of that's to do with the music as well by Brad Fido.
Oh yeah,
He really set up the intensity. It's like a heartbeat type of music. I think I saw an interview where he said he was just trying to create a heartbeat for the Terminator. And that's where that when that music comes in when he's getting chased, when they're both getting chased by the Terminator.
yeah.
Schwarzenegger himself was so intimidating. The way he just looks like huge, but he also looked cool as well with his like leather jacket.
Shades. Yeah, he was perfect. He was perfect, man. It was.
And
I guess that was his breakthrough, right? Like aside from Conan the Barbarian, that was his big breakthrough role.
Yeah, and they had like his first catchphrase, "I'll be back." And it was a low budget movie that made a lot of money. I think it made like 78 million in the end in America. And it was just like everything was perfect about it. It didn't do anything that it didn't need to do and just stuck to the basics, but it did it so well. And the characters is what really drives the movie.
Yeah. What did you? Let's go through the characters. I think. Like, what do you think first of all of Kyle Reese?
I also like Kyle Reese. I think the actor played that role magnificently.
Michael Biehn.
Michael Biehn, yeah, I always like Michael Biehn from Alien as well. Was it Aliens 2? I believe he came in.
Aliens, yeah, Alien 2, which is called Aliens, yeah.
This vulnerable, like I like how they made him the opposite to Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's not like a pumped up guy. He's not intimidating. He's vulnerable. He's quick. He's smaller.
Yeah.
And I like the hidden depth that he's actually in love with Sarah Connor from the future as well. So he's desperate, and I think Michael Biehn just played it perfectly. I don't think you could put anyone else in that role.
As evidenced by the line where he says to Sarah Connor, "I came back in time for you, Sarah."
Close up of his face, but yeah.
Basically, just fell in love with a picture and stories, but he makes it work though somehow.
Yeah, but you got to remember the future he's from. You have to hold on to anything with machines trying to kill you all day. So that was his escape, right? Just hearing the stories and seeing the picture. It was escape from reality where he was. So
yeah,
and he played it great. So I like his character. I like Sarah Connor as a whole. Sarah Connor is one of my favorite characters of all time, just because of the evolution you see from Terminator 1 to Terminator 2. Like like her the way her character is in Terminator 2. We'll talk about that movie later too. Just it really does drive forward from this movie. Here she's like young, she's naive, she's kind of a coward, and she's the opposite in Terminator 2. But she played the naive young girl really well too. All the actors in this movie were amazing, even from the cops and everyone. They like, I think with a low budget, they just went with good actors who could do the job well.
Yeah, I thought she was great too. I mean, it was by the end of the movie she kind of transforms, right? But yeah, she played that really well, and I think she had good chemistry with Michael Biehn too. You know, and yeah, she was great. And I think that was like one of the first movies, aside from Aliens, that had a strong female character in it, in an action sci-fi sense.
Yeah, yeah, and by the end of it, yeah, but like throughout the movie, she's just basically getting saved by Kyle Reese.
Kyle Reese, yeah.
But yeah,
And what do you think about Arnie? Good old Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I think yeah, like you said, I think it was perfect. The less he said was actually better because you want to believe he's a machine, not a human. So the fact that he talks very minimum in the movie makes it more intimidating. He's just going and he just wants to assassinate. He doesn't care about anything else. Yeah, I think Arnold Schwarzenegger was perfect for the role. His body language, even his accent, it just went along with the feeling of this guy is like a machine and he's just there to kill people. Well, and he doesn't care. He's on a mission. And he doesn't care who he kills to get there. And he's likable too in a way. Like he looked cool. So like as a kid, you're like, oh man, he looks kind of cool too. So like it was perfect because like if you have someone annoying or someone overdoing it, you'll be against the Terminator, but you won't actually like think he's cool. So I think this movie did a lot of things. Like you kind of like the Terminator for being like a badass as well.
Yeah, he was cool. I think that was the main thing, but also the physicality of him just being so intimidating, so big, and saying so little. Like you genuinely felt scared that he's gonna, catch up with Linda Hamilton and Kyle Reese, and that made it exciting.
And the fact that he had an accent kind of went with the whole persona of the machine. Because in those days, you didn't have many big time actors with a different accent other than American or British accent. You didn't have anyone else big at that time. Like he was starting to become.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, perfect movie, perfect soundtrack. You kind of feel like, how can they top this if they ever made a sequel, kind of thing. But
Yeah,
they somehow did it with Terminator 2.
yeah. I mean, one of the things that I really liked about the movie is the scene in the future. I think everyone was really excited about that. It was pretty cool. What do you think of that?
That was okay. Like, yeah, they showed a bit of like Kyle Reese flashbacks fighting machines. But I kind of seen that stuff before in like TV shows. So I like mainly just the fact that there's a machine trying to chase them and kill them, and how are humans going to take a machine out? Especially with like 1984 weapons. In the future, they show they have like laser guns and stuff. So you're just wondering, how is Kyle Reese actually going to take the Terminator out? And the way he does is just, yeah, it's interesting the way they do it.
Yeah, I think the other thing that was a trip was like Kyle Reese ends up being John Connor's father. So Kyle Reese is a soldier in the future that John Connor sends back in time to protect his mother, and then Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor get together for a night, and then John Connor's born. That was always one of the cool things, trippy things about the film.
Yeah, I don't want to go too much into the whole like time travel thing. You can talk to hours about it. Like I'm just taking it face value. It's just a movie. Just go in there and
Yeah.
enjoy it. Some people overthink it. Like it's not realistic anyway. So like, why are you trying to overthink the time travel aspect?
No, I just think it was cool. Like you didn't expect that like, when you first watched the movie. You wouldn't
Yeah,
expect that, right?
yeah. I mean, but there's other people like on Reddit and stuff that just like talk hours and hours. Oh, it's not realistic. Yeah, none of the movie is realistic. So who cares? Like, just enjoy it.
Yeah, it's basically cybernetic organisms for the future killing people. So yeah, of course it's not real.
For some reason, coming butt naked too through the time travel machine. The time travel machine can send people in the past, but it can't take clothes for some reason.
No clothes allowed, man.
So you have the Arnold Schwarzenegger butt in the moonbeam walk as he's walking towards.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also saw Terminator 2 first. So well, it was interesting because It is very dialed back compared to Terminator 2, but it's perfect for what it was. It shouldn't be over the top. This movie is just perfect. The low budget almost kind of helps it because they made it realistic, even though it wasn't a realistic movie.
Yeah, I think it was had that kind of gritty street feel to it as well. You know.
Yeah, very set in the nighttime most of the movie,
Yeah.
and you really feel nervous throughout the movie. Like you really feel like, oh shit, Kyle Reese, look out! He's coming right behind you, and
Yeah,
then
it's
you have
almost like that. Did you ever watch The Warriors? Do you remember that film?
yeah, I remember that movie.
Yeah, it's always got that little bit of that Warriors feel where they're trying to, run away and, get somewhere and they're being chased and you're kind of pulling for them to get through. That tension, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the whole movie is just tension till the end,
Yeah.
and then obviously we said spoilers. Then you have the Kyle Reese dying, which I didn't like. I just felt bad when that guy died because you really pulled for him throughout the whole movie. But he did what he said he would do. He would die for Sarah Connor, and he did.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all about sacrifice, right? That's what they're going for.
So yeah, so John Connor probably knew he was going to die when he sent him to. So John Connor's kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
Kyle, yeah, but yeah, I think they say in the movie like you can only travel one way, so he was never going to see Kyle Reese again anyway.
Yeah, it's like, good luck, man.
But he
Bye.
obviously knew he died. Yeah, I was found that funny when I thought about it. Some people, these are the only two movies where some people actually do prefer the first one compared to the second. There's always the argument, and I can kind of see that. Like, if you like that kind of movie better, because Terminator 2 is more CGI as well, and a
Yeah.
lot more Hollywood, I guess you could say, than
Yeah,
part
they,
one.
they, they stepped it up. They stepped it up in production and everything. So you want to get into T2 or?
Yeah, we'll go to T2. But I think these two are the only movies where I've never seen anyone say that they think these movies suck. Some
No,
might say
no.
that, oh yeah, it might be overrated, but everyone loves these movies, no matter who it is that watches them.
Yeah, pretty
And
much. Uh, yeah, I mean, I only know one person who in college, but it doesn't matter. Most people like Terminator 1 and 2.
then we get to Terminator 2, released in 1991. James Cameron directed again, but he co-wrote the script with a guy called William Wish, and set in 1995. Actually, I couldn't remember that, but yeah, it's actually set in 1995.
Ah, okay.
So John Connor now is like an 11-year-old kid. So basically, the end of Terminator 1, Sarah Connor is pregnant. So this is 11 years ahead of that now. What makes this movie great is now Skynet sends a new type of Terminator from the future to come back and kill John Connor himself, since they couldn't kill his mom previously. So they probably were working on like a better model. They don't want to fail again. So you have this weird like liquid Terminator that can transform into almost anything. And what made this movie perfect was in the future the humans did not send another human. They sent a reprogrammed T-100. So now you have Arnold Schwarzenegger playing the good guy trying to save John Connor. And I always love that fact when you watch Terminator 1 and then Terminator 2 after. It always makes a great story. And by this time, Arnold Schwarzenegger was a huge star, but this movie cultivated him to even greater heights. Probably the biggest star in the world.
Yeah, pretty much. After this, he was the number one action star in the world. Hands down. And yeah, he wrote that much into the '90s. So
Yeah, if it wasn't for this, he wouldn't do amazing movies like Junior,
hey, man.
Batman and Robin,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Jingle All the Way.
Wonderful movies.
But another interesting aspect is they reversed a lot of things in this movie. If you think about it, Robert Patrick, who played the 3-1000, was also again the opposite of Arnold
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger. Slim, smaller guy. He does not look intimidating, but the way the guy portrayed the role, you start to get intimidated by him really quick. So he wins you over by his acting and his body language.
Yeah, his face expressions were really scary. Like almost. lack of expressions almost. It really worked. Like you believed he was a machine, and like you said, his body was really helpful in the physicality of being like a fluid Terminator that can melt, that can take shape of certain objects and other people. I think that was an interesting twist. Like he could turn into other people and pretend to be them, and also mimic their voice. You know.
Yeah, you had this Terminator who actually could act and pretend to be someone different. The T-800 can mimic voices, but he can't really act to be someone else. The T-800 just stays the same character, where this T-1000 changes his whole personality. Like when he's looking for John Connor in the arcade and he's asking the kids, it just looks like a normal cop. He's not talking like a machine, so he knows how to adjust. That's always an interesting concept that
Yeah.
I always thought about later, not when I first saw the movie. Like, wow, yeah, like he actually can adjust a lot more than a T-800 in a lot different ways, not just like the physical stuff, personality wise as well.
True. True that. True that. Did you? How did you? Well, it's like for me, it's like my favorite movie of all time. How did you rate it in your all-time um, list of movies?
Yeah, Terminator 2 is probably my favorite movie of all time, too. I think I saw it in 1992.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about it. It's just, it's a perfect action movie to me. It has,
Yeah. Well, we can get into like what do you think? Why do we love it so much? You know what I mean?
by this stage, it just had everything. It had awesome action. CGI was amazing for the time. So I haven't seen CGI like that at the time I was watching the movie. So it's the first like really
Yeah, and
cool
that
effects. Soundtrack again, having like Guns N'
action.
Roses, "You Could Be Mine." At that time, Guns N' Roses were blowing
Yeah,
up too. Well, they're already
yeah,
blown
yeah.
up, but like I was really into Guns N' Roses at that time.
They were at their peak in terms of fame. Yeah,
You had yeah, just like Arnold Schwarzenegger was awesome. Like he was just cool. Like I love that Terminator character, especially how that machine slowly is becoming more human because of
yeah,
John Connor, and just to show how he changed from the beginning to the end. It gets you emotional too, the way he dies in the end. And again, the soundtrack helps a lot with that. The when the music kicks in,
yeah,
all that stuff, and then again, Linda Hamilton, like she really stepped up again. Like she's pumped up, and she looks like a badass too right away.
yeah,
And like, yeah, everything was perfect about this movie. Just as a kid, what else do you want? Like awesome action, your favorite action hero as the good guy, cool sci-fi, great story, pacing was amazing, and you didn't know what was going to happen. Like it was you just going for the ride.
yeah. I think you hit it there when you said he learns how to become more human as the movie progresses. I think that was the crux of the movie, like what makes us human, and the way the Terminator starts having almost like emotions for John and an attachment to him, like a father would. You know, yeah, that was touching, and that was I think the movie had heart. That was the thing that in addition to the action and all the great effects, really made it as great as it was.
Plus, I had really dark scenes too, like Sarah Connor dreaming about the Judgment Day on the fence.
Yeah.
She's yelling and she's like, "No,
Uh,
John!" Like
she tries to kill the guy who what was his name? I forgot his name.
I forgot his name too. That doctor who basically,
The scientist or whatever who developed who basically ends up developing the Terminator
yeah, that's another interesting twist. That
or Terminator
end
or
of
Yeah, Skynet,
yeah,
both.
Skynet basically. So they found the remains of that arm left over from when Sarah Connor crushed the Terminator in Terminator One,
Yeah,
and they received a chip, and they basically hid it from society, and they've been working on it, how to use it.
there is one more chip, and it must be destroyed also.
Another thing we should mention is, yeah, Sarah Connor. They put Sarah Connor in a mental hospital, like trying to make it that she's just gone crazy, even though they know they received the arm and the chip. And
Yeah,
yeah, the atmosphere of the whole movie too. It just goes different paces, different moments. Like when she's in the mental hospital, and the guys and the caretaker's like licking her, like it's all very tense and like I don't know, it's perfect pacing.
yeah. I think they really stepped up the tension from part one to part two, and the kind of the feeling that you're being hunted. That's probably the best way to put it. Um, by this machine that just won't give up, and Yeah, it was brilliant. I also like wanted to mention Edward Furlong's acting and his. He was really good. I think he also made the movie. Without him, I don't think the movie would be what it was.
Yeah, he played that spoiled brat, but also clever really well. He
Yeah, he's
was
like hacking into ATMs and he's got his little moped and everything.
making fun of his mom, but secretly he just really misses her, and he goes from foster home to foster home. Like,
Yeah,
and then when he like figures out his mom was telling the truth, that's the whole like going back and I love that scene when they go back to get Sarah Connor from the hospital,
yeah,
and he walks out of the elevator, and she sees him. She thinks it's the Terminator from Terminator One, and then he does the classic line from Kyle Reese: "Come with me if you want to live."
yeah.
Like the whole thing, it was just cool. Like the whole movie was cool, and like you wanted to be Schwarzenegger again. You're rooting for the underdog.
True that. True that.
You're watching how this T-1000 is like. He could do anything, like transform into different people, and like even like he could just even if he bust his ass up, he can join back together, whatever that material is made up of.
Yeah, yeah,
Like when he's chasing them in the car and they shoot his hand off, and that metal stays in the car for a while. Like, yeah, it was cool. Like
yeah.
this movie had everything you wanted from an action movie. It had emotions, it had great action, it had like a
Great, great one-liners too. Great one-liners. Your foster parents are dead.
the and the main guy is like a big star that everyone likes, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
And they brought back the same like characters, like Sarah Connor, same characters. So like yeah, that was cool. Like same actress. Instead of changing it up, like that would have messed it up too if they didn't have the right one
Oh
person.
yeah, Linda Hamilton was really great in that movie. Both
Her,
movies, but
the way she plays like tormented, like desperate, like a
yeah,
badass tormented. I thought she did amazing in this role. Like it's underrated.
yeah, especially part two. Yeah, she really,
Like
yeah, that was
tortured,
awesome.
and like
Yeah,
when she's about to kill that scientist and stops and has a breakdown. Like it was great acting. I think it was like a lot of people they don't talk about how good how an actress she was actually in these
yeah,
movies.
most underrated, definitely.
And of course, yeah, it had all the one-liners that you'll never forget. It had "I'll be back again
Yeah.
because he told me to." But yeah, it was mainly about a machine being a father figure for this kid.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Baby. And then, of course, like the ending, just how tense it is, how cool it is with all that lava and all that stuff. Like,
Yeah,
and the emotion that the guy's willing to sacrifice himself, the robot, for humanity. He knows that he can cause a problem in the future, so he'd rather terminate himself. Well, he can't terminate himself. I cannot terminate myself, so he gives it to Sarah Connor. But
you must lower me down.
and the slow trust that Sarah Connor starts getting for this Terminator 2 throughout the movie. And yeah, everything just went perfect again, like kind of like Terminator 1. It's like the music, the action, the actors, everything. There wasn't one weak point in this whole movies. Even like John Connor's friend, like even that guy in small role with his mullet was pretty
That
good.
guy was rocking that mullet in that movie, though,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. Hey, John, you better get out of here. There's a cop looking for you.
He used to find a barber and look for a haircut, man. But
But that movie has a lot of cool scenes too, like when John Connor's running in the back of the mall and he suddenly sees Arnold Schwarzenegger with the box of flowers, kind of like a Guns N' Roses reference there too, because he pulls out a gun from there and then he crushes
yeah,
the flowers. Get down, and then because at this point you don't really know who's the bad guy, who's the good guy if you haven't seen any trailers. So at that scene,
yeah, it's true.
you don't know who's trying to kill him and who's trying to save him. Yeah, that just sets the whole movie like cat and mouse game. But yeah, this movie had a lot more emotions, I think, than Terminator 1. So yeah, the emotions in this movie are great. From the Terminator's relationship to John Connor reconnecting with his mom, Sarah Connor. Sarah Connor trying to trust this Terminator. Sarah Connor going back into society after all this time. Even the scientist and his family, like when they realize that that scientist is the cause of, Judgment Day, basically. And this how
Yeah,
he tries to fix it too. Like it's a lot of emotions, human emotions. Terminator 2 is like a perfect movie in my head. I can't change one thing about it.
yeah, I agree with that. It was perfect.
Even
Hence,
Arnold's,
probably why it's our favorite movie.
even Arnold's like introduction scene, like it sets the mood of the movie. Like, oh man, this is cool. Like the way he goes into that bar, I need your clothes, your boots, your motorcycle. take it, just take it. Then in the Bad to the
Take
Bone
it, just
music,
take it. Yeah.
Bad to the Bone. Then he steals the
Banana.
sunglasses, motorcycle, like everything that was
Yeah,
cool in the 90s. Like,
the look was so cool. The look was so cool. Like even the poster, right? Black shades, black leather, Harley, or whatever, more bike. Yeah, it was cool.
and yeah, like I said, everyone did a great job. Robert Patrick, yeah, they all did a great job.
Yeah,
Even the doctor who's like
yeah, I agree.
psychoanalyzing Sarah Connor, like you really hate that guy.
Yeah, yeah. Even the scientist guy, the guy, is he Miles or I can't remember his
Yeah,
name
Miles,
anymore?
something Miles, yeah.
But yeah, like even his acting when he finds out that he basically created, he destroyed humanity.
I think I'm gonna throw up.
uh, yeah, that's his reaction.
Then he also sacrificed himself when he knows he got shot to save it. So
Yeah,
the whole
yeah,
movie is sacrifice, I suppose.
yeah. It's all a cause to save humanity. Basically, that's quite a
Looks like
big
he won't
deal.
be taking to his kids to that water park.
No, no, he won't.
But yeah, both of these are perfect movies. Even Terminator 1, like even if in imaginary world, I had more budget, obviously you could fix the CGI a bit, like when he's in the mirror taking his eyeball out. But I think other than that, you wouldn't change one single thing.
Yeah, aside from the special effects, everything was perfect and still holds up. Obviously, special effects don't really hold up for part one, but even some of part two, but it still works for part two. But yeah, I would change that. But yeah, two great movies by a great director.
And you can see that, what was that Terminator that they kind of revamped? They mixed Terminator 1 and 2 together with the girl from Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, Terminator Genesis. Yeah,
Even that, you could tell then it has the same kind of plot in the beginning. But having the right actors, the right atmosphere, the right director changes everything.
it does. It does.
Genesis, you didn't really care. It's just like, oh yeah, cool. That's a throwback to the old movie. You didn't really like Kyle Reese. You didn't feel it.
No,
So casting, I think, with these kind of movies is really important, and the way the director sets the tone.
yeah, it's very
That's what.
important.
That's why no other director can really justify the tone of Terminator. The other Terminator movies are just generic movies in my head.
I mean, Terminator 3 has grown on me a little bit, but I don't. It's okay. It's not bad. I guess maybe because the ones after it were so bad that it makes it look a little better, but it still doesn't have that magic at all.
Yeah, because James Cameron, you can't have Terminator without him directing it and writing it and setting the tone.
Plus, no Edward Furlong, no Linda Hamilton.
That's why I don't like Terminator 3 is they replaced Edward Furlong with some annoying guy. It didn't feel like a John Connor. I mean, he shouldn't be John Connor. And it's just a mess. The whole like franchise after is a mess. Like then John Connor grows up to be Christian Bale. Like, come on, from that guy from Terminator 3, like you can see Edward Furlong growing into that Christian Bale, but like the guy in 3, like the whole like series after is just a mess. I think they try to fix
Yeah,
it, but they just keep
yeah,
messing it up more.
yeah. That's the thing. They keep trying to fix it, and like even the last one was James Cameron came back as one of the producers, but even he couldn't save it, because he didn't direct it, he didn't write it alone. He had like 7 writers or something. And I've never seen it, but I heard it's pretty bad from everyone who's seen it.
I've
It
seen
didn't
it's
do.
really bad. It flopped badly, and
Yeah, it flopped.
I think the main thing that pissed everyone off is right in the beginning they just overturned Terminator 2, which is the most beloved Terminator movie of the franchise, and then you're gonna try to overwrite it. It was a dumbass move. People didn't like it. Basically, spoiler, they show like multiple Terminators were sent back in time. So John Connor's chilling in a beach somewhere with Sarah, and he gets shot dead. And it's like, okay, you just overturned everything cool about Terminator 2, which is everyone's favorite Terminator movie, and you think it's going to work. No, it's not. That's what super flop. Get the hell out of here.
Get the shit out of here, man. And like, why would you send? You can only send one person at a time, one Terminator. Like that was another stupid thing that these Terminators just multiple Terminators are just sent through time, when obviously that's not the case.
And I don't mind strong female characters. Like I said, Sarah Connor is one of my favorite characters of all time, man or
Yeah,
female.
that's why
But this
I was
movie
excited to
was
see her, but after I heard the plot of the movie, I didn't even bother watching.
this movie was overdoing it with the whole
Oh yeah.
Everyone's a female. So like the new John Connor is a young Mexican girl. The one protecting her is like a hybrid, but she's also a girl. Then Sarah Connor is a girl. Like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff should be done organically. This looked like forced. Like oh, it's 2019, 2020. Let's make a movie that pleases everyone, and it should be done organically, not forced. That's why I think people realize that they're like, this is horse shit. You can't force that kind of stuff on it. It should be done
Yeah.
naturally, like how
I
it
was
was done.
yeah. I was surprised how badly it bombed. It bombed really badly, right? Like from what I remember.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But yeah,
Oh well. Oh well.
but Schwarzenegger, just yeah, the '90s was his decade. I think he was awesome. Him and Stallone were my favorite action stars.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's my take on Terminator One and Terminator Two. You
So
guys,
if you were gonna make another Terminator, what would you do with it? No.
I don't know. Part of me just feels like you should just leave it where Terminator Two ends.
Mm-hmm.
But if there was going to be another movie, I would first make sure I bring back all the original cast. So you have to have Linda Hamilton, you have to have Edward Furlong and Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Yeah.
and maybe I would make it that that chip somehow did not get destroyed in the lava, or earlier you see John Connor fixing Terminator up, and you know he knows technology. So maybe somehow he backed that chip up just in case he ever needed it. So maybe like if another Terminator was sent back in the future in the future in the movie, they capture it and they remove that chip and put this chip back. So you have the same Terminator from Terminator 2. I would make it something like, yeah, you could bring back the actual memories from that Terminator 2 to come back.
Okay. I would. My thing is different. I would have a prequel series where Edward Furlong would be John Connor fighting the war, and then it would end when he sends Kyle Reese back in time. So it'd be like a prequel
But they
slash.
kind of do that. But yeah, I guess they tried to do that future John Connor movie.
Yeah, they did.
Salvation.
They did. But like yeah, like the actual future war, how the war started, and then John Connor sending that Terminator, capturing the Terminator, reprogramming it, putting it back, like something like that. But there could have been many options, but unfortunately, no one got it right, and I think now it really is dead.
Yeah, because now everyone associates Terminator with Arnold Schwarzenegger, with these
Yeah,
characters, and you can't really do it with anyone else. Like a lot of people,
no,
they still believe Christopher Reeve is Superman, which is why not everyone really. Even though I like Henry Cavill, I think he's awesome and he does a great job as Superman. But in everyone's hearts, they still think Christopher Reeve is Superman, and no one else should be Superman. That's why like Superman Returns was not like a huge hit. It did not like make other movies with the actor. Even Man of Steel,
yeah.
even though I
But I like
liked
Man
it,
of Steel.
but they still never made like a sequel to it, right? So it wasn't like a huge hit because then if it was, they would pump money into it to get more money. Like certain characters are only done with certain people, and you shouldn't mess around with it. Like I think Terminator 2 should just be left where it is and end it like that.
Mm,
If you can't bring back the whole cast again.
yeah, I guess so. I guess so.
So, what are your favorite top three Arnold Schwarzenegger movies?
Oh, I guess. Damn, that's hard. Terminator 2, Terminator 1, and no, wait. Terminator 2, Predator, and Kindergarten Cop, maybe? It's difficult, man. Yeah, I'd probably go for those three.
Mine, I don't know if I have a top three, but Terminator 2, number one for sure. Then on different days, it'll be something different, but Kindergarten Cop and Terminator 1 or Total Recall. Like, you can mix them around, but yeah, I love Predator. I love Commando too, but you can mix them around pretty much.
All right, this has been the Fillmore Podcast, and we will be back next time. Thank you very much for listening. Peace.